Our guest for tonight's program is joining us from the beautiful island of Jamaica, and he is Mr. Odane Brooks. Odane Brooks is a policy and research professional and consultant with the government of Jamaica. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Policy and Management and a master's degree in International Public and Development Management. Odane continues to impact lives and is passionate about nation building and demonstrate this through being a Governor General of Jamaica, I Believe ambassador. Mr. Brooks is an active youth development activist at the national, regional, and international levels. He currently serves in several organizations where he used his expertise and experience to develop intervention programs for youth development and engagement. Mr. Brooks currently is the Director of International Relations with the Youth Education Association, country focal point on the Commonwealth Sport for Development Network, former training and development coordinator with the Caribbean Regional Youth Council. Odane also served as director for the program development with the Global Sustainable Development Network, research consultant with UNESCO Caribbean, and also youth initiative coordinator with Advocate for Change Jamaica. Mr. Brooks is also engaged in educational management and currently serves as a board of governor of the Clancarty High School in Jamaica. I want to now invite my guest, Odane Brooks, Mr. Odane Brooks, to the spotlight. It is an honor to have you, Mr. Brooks, because we have the same surname. And I don't want to get biased tonight because of the surname. So I'm going to say welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brooks. I must say, you're reading my bio. I am saying to myself, am I involved in so many things?
Wow. I am actually so much impressed with your bio, Mr. Brooks. And as I said before, I'm hoping not to get biased because of my namesake. But I do understand the Brooks name, the level of determination to succeed that is usually shown by persons with this name. But you have really chalked up some huge successes over time. And so I'm going to go straight into asking you the questions because I do believe that at the end of the program, our guests are going to have many other questions for you. So let me get right ahead because we're actually behind time. So talk to us first about what is your driving force? What led you to this level of success at what appears to be such a young age in life?
Quite an interesting question. And I am still defining what are my driving forces. But I must say that I am from rural Jamaica. And one of the disadvantage, although there are many advantages to coming from the rural side, is that when you're in the rural side, you do not get the exposure that I believe young people is deserving of. And that exposure that I speak to is exposure to mentorship program, developmental programs. And as someone who is from the rural space and coming into Kingston, I have over time developed a zest, I would describe it, to impart development to young people in the rural space. And over time, I have sought to expand my reach to not only the rural space, but to young people in general, because I believe that one of the major challenge that Jamaica faces, and I think it is a regional issue, is that of mentorship and development for young people. And so all of what I have been engaged in, it has been built on the premise of I must be able to impact the life of even one individual. And so that the zeal to impact lives has been what continues to fuel my fire for influence and for empowerment of young people.
Wow, that is so powerful what you have just stated. And as I listen to you, I remember a quote from William Shakespeare. He said, some persons were born great and others achieve greatness. But it does appear to me as I listen to you that you are sitting on both sides. You possibly were born great and you have achieved greatness. Well, let me talk to you a little bit. I'm going to go back because you talk about the rural area coming from there and before you got into the city, into Kingston. Um, Talk to us a little bit because I saw that at Magothy High School, you gained a diploma in humanities and law. You were also head prefect and youth empowerment coordinator. Indeed impressive, and this is what I'm talking about, born great and achieve greatness. Talk to us a little more about those early days. What was going on in your mind as it relates to your future goals? You know, even coming from primary school to Magothy High School, what was going on in your head about your future goals?
I believe that I would describe myself as a late bloomer. I think that at the primary level, I did not evolve into who I am now in terms of I did not shadow that concept of what I wanted my future to look like. But I believe that once I transitioned into Magothy High School, it provided me with a platform, an environment that not only stimulated that aura as to what I can become, but it enabled me to defy stereotypical views of being a student of the Magothy High School. And so if I should provide some context so my audience can follow me along the journey. Magothy High School is what is called in Jamaica a non-traditional high school. In other words, it is not one of the preferred high school whenever you're sitting the transitional exam at the end of primary school. And being a student at the Magothy High School, it was always my desire to continuously pursue excellence, to defy the notion that irrespective of where you are planted, you have the ability to bloom. And I wanted that notion to be solidified. Because during my time at Magothy High School, I would have seen several students who society, who the community would have really brushed aside as not coming to anything that is ideal for what society would expect. And so it has always been my mission as a student of Magothy to ensure that I demonstrate excellence. And throughout Magothy High School, it provided me with that platform. And being at Magothy High School, I believe that looking back now, I am satisfied that I was actually a student at the Magothy High School because I don't think the exposure and the zest for success that I developed there, I would have gotten it elsewhere had I been a student of a traditional high school. And so that was the ecosystem that was operating at the Magothy High School that would have enabled me to bloom and to grow into the young man that I am currently. And so I must give all thanks to the Magothy High School for the platform that it would have provided me with.
Wow. Yeah, I am listening to you and I'm really going to get a little bit biased now. You did say earlier that Magothy was not one of the traditional high school. You also said that there was some kind of stigma, more like, you know, persons are not going to come to anything. And I am so much able to acknowledge that because I have heard and been there And you know, as you talked, I remember another favorite writer of mine, C.S. Lewis. He said that, you know, we can't go back and change anything, but surely we can start where we are and we can change everything. And it appears to me as I listen to you that that is what you decided to do, to go back and to just start where you are and to change everything, regardless of the stigma that was attached to where you were. And so I'm going to ask you a few more questions about how you continue to excel, because I know that, and I'm going to say it almost sounds like you were a genius here, because I saw that in 2019, you graduated from the University of the West Indies with an honors um, bachelor's degree in public policy and management, political science and management. And again in 2021, so that was another 2 years later, you went back and you graduated with a distinction again from the University of the West Indies with a Master's of Science degree in International and Public Development Management. In, I would say, would that be 5 years or 4 years? You came through with an honors degree, bachelor's, and then a distinction master's. Talk to us about what has been your real push. What are your, who were your greatest role models? What has been most inspiring to you that kept you going at these high levels of achievement?
So if I should begin, I must acknowledge my parents, the impact that they have had on my personal development. So for some context, my parents would not have benefited from higher level education. And so it was always a mantra of both my parents to inculcate within me and my siblings that education is the passport out of current circumstances. And so from very early, I recognize that if I am to elevate out of the circumstances which I would have been born into, the only vehicle that I have is through education. And so, having that built within me from a very early age, I would have been set on a journey. I would have been set on a journey that propelled me to consistently seek to achieve and to seek knowledge. Because for me personally, education is that ability for you to transform your circumstances, for you to not be one who is fixed to what your circumstances currently is, but it's for you to transform that circumstance into something great. And so that would have propelled me entering into university in 2006. And throughout those 3 years in undergrad, doing my undergrad degree, I would have consistently sought to ensure that I am transforming and building myself throughout the process. And importantly for me, I find that self-building becomes personal and it becomes satisfying when you empower others a part of the process. And so I would have sought throughout my university years in undergrad to take individuals under my wing in terms of providing support and mentorship. And so throughout my undergraduate years, I was always destined for to achieve success. And I must say that my earlier years would have played a significant role in that consistency. And I must say, Dr. Brooks, that throughout university, consistency is an important um, action that you must continuously manifest because it is so easy to be sidetracked by the various distractions throughout university. But I sought to ensure that I remained focused and I also looked at the overall personal development, because I don't believe that education is fully manifested only in your academic accolades. But I also believe that education must look at the holistic development of individuals. So I ensured that whilst I am accumulating my own accolades, in the process, I am also mentoring others. I'm also developing others. And so that recognition would have seen me going into some what I would describe as nitty gritty communities in Jamaica, where they are violence prone. They consist of several at-risk youth because of the circumstances that exist in those communities. And so all of my university years, all Saturdays were spent on the ground in various communities, Augustown, Jonestown, and those communities, it gave me, I would say, reason to continue on the path that I am, because my area of study is public policy and management. And I believe that as a policymaker, I am central in the process to transform the lives of people. And what better way to transform lives than to go amongst the individuals you want to transform? And in this quest, I would have led various mentorship intervention programs throughout my university years that sought to provide mentorship and development for young people in some of these communities. Transitioning into my master's program was a representation for me of my continued desire for knowledge, because I don't believe that we stop learning ever. There is this continuous desire to learn and to evolve. And that would have seen me entering into my master's program, continuing on the spectrum of public policy and management, because I have a personal passion for public service. And as I see it as an opportunity to directly impact the lives of Jamaicans, as I would describe myself as a patriot, I am committed to Jamaica. I am committed to utilizing the skill sets that I have developed and honed over time to impact the policy space here in Jamaica so that we can create systems, programs, and policies that can transform the lives of the most vulnerable within our society. So that surmises my journey throughout university and my master's program. Currently, I am just taking a break to refresh and to focus elsewhere before I transition into my PhD program.
I don't know what to say other than wow, wow, and wow. When I started, I told you that I was going to be quite biased tonight because I don't know if it's just the desire or it is just a hint of genius that is rubbed in the Brooks family. However, you have me saying again, Shakespeare said some persons were born great, others achieve greatness. And I do see that it's a little bit of both, because when I listen to all that you have said, going to university, working in the inner city communities, sticking to public policy. If you have come into the room after we started, I know you want to know who we're talking to tonight. We are talking with Odane Brooks, Mr. Odane Brooks. He is joining us out of Jamaica. We are on the series, Men on a Mission, Creating Impact and Influence. And what a way to start the series. We could not have started it any better. Odane is a public policy professional. He works with the government of Jamaica, and he has done so much more. And we are going to just rush along because there is so much more here to hear tonight. And I see the chat is already burning up, and I want you to continue to drop those comments, questions, whatever it is that you have. Go ahead and put them in the chat, because we have to leave some time tonight to ask Odane some of the ear question. Because the first thing I want to ask him, are you from St. Elizabeth? Because if you're from St. Elizabeth, then I know what is going on right there.
I am from St. Elizabeth.
Wonderful. I'm going to go into my next question. And, you know, as I continue to listen to you, Odane, I want to come off a little bit of your studies, because you didn't just stop at studying. You went on to starting your own consultancy firm, Brooks Academic Consultancy, providing consultancy to students pursuing master's and PhD programs. At the same time, you were a training and development coordinator at Caribbean Regional Youth Council in St. Lucia. And I want to ask you this question, because when I look at everything that you have done, I want to ask you, are you married with children? You have a family, go to church, have church activities. When do you find time to do all of these things? Plus you were studying.
That is something that I'm still trying to find the answer to. At this point, I am not married, so probably that gives me the answer. Um, I'm also a part of a church organization, but I think that for me, I have found the time out of the continued desire that I have to impact the lives of people that I come into contact with. You come into contact with different people, they are operating at different, within different spheres and also at different levels. And it is always a beautiful experience to leave an impact in their lives once you come into contact with them. And so I believe that that has allowed me to extend myself into different spheres that enables me to have that desire to impact lives. And I think that's how I've been able to manage up to this point.
Wonderful.